Going down a massive hill at the moment where I've hit 60 kilometers an hour on my skates. I'm picking up speed and I'm starting to get a little bit of speed wobbles here.
G'day, I'm Kama.
And I'm Blowy.
It's the Kama and Blowy Show.
Kama and Blowy, Kama and Blowy, walking and talking. Kama and Blowy, Kama and Blowy.
Morning, Kama. How are you?
G'day, Blowy. How you going, mate? It's just started raining. It's quite light, but I've got an umbrella anyway. I'm on top of the world.
Yeah.
I haven't been to this area in Shibushi, further to the south, and I'm at the top of this big embankment, and you can kind of see over the whole town. So I'm going to walk down these stairs down to civilization.
Well, I'm actually on my rollerblades today, Kama, and I'm just crossing a bridge, and as you can see here, there's a dealership which has got a big line called Holden, and that's Australia's one of Australia's biggest brands that in the automotive industry, which this year they found out that they're no longer going to exist. So that dealership is history.
It's funny as well because Holden, it's kind of like there's a binary, so people will often say, hey mate, are you a Holden guy or are you a Ford guy? Like you've got two options.
Two options. Well, that's what it used to be, wasn't it? And just quickly, sorry, just while I'm here, this is probably the most spectacular part of my trip. So you can see the city in the background. I'm just going over a big bridge overpass over the road. There's a bit of traffic considering we're in lockdown.
Yeah.
But apparently they're all essential workers. And now I am descending down a steep hill on my skates, doing a few ice skating stops. Woohoo! It's pretty fun. That was my highlight, I guess. Yeah. Are you a Ford guy or a Holden guy, Kama?
Yeah, neither. Definitely neither.
A Honda Super Cub guy.
Yeah, that's right. I'm actually driving a Toyota at the moment, which is
Okay.
up until now. I didn't get my license till I was 32, and
Yeah.
so I've only had two cars. Both of them I've shared with my wife, and they've both been second-hand silver Mitsubishis, and until we came to Japan and got this Toyota. So yeah, I'll tell you a quick story about me and cars, Blowy. There was this Japanese friend of mine back in Brisbane called Hiroshi, and you remember him because of the way he answered the phone. But one day he asked me, he said he had a problem with his car, and he asked me, you're an Aussie guy, can you fix it? And I said to him, mate, I'm the wrong person to ask, but he thought I was just being modest. And he goes, look, can you just have a look? If it's something obvious, you can fix it for me. And I didn't have my license or anything at this stage, so I really don't know why he was asking me. But he lifted up the bonnet, and I had a look in there, and there's one thing that kind of just seemed like it was out of place, like it just didn't look right. So I just kind of twisted it and reconnected it, and then he started the car, and it started perfectly. And so then he thought, Dave's really modest, but he's really good with mechanics. Like I had this problem with my car, and he got it started again. And it was just a pure fluke. And the more I protested, he just thought I was being modest.
That's hilarious. Because I popped a 180 over a speed bump then, Kama.
I beg your pardon?
I just did a 180 over a speed bump for you.
Yeah, be careful, Blowy. You've got to focus on the show.
Oh, mate, this is enhancing the show.
Yeah. Got some grapefruits or some kind of citrus that I'm walking past now. There's a few on them. They're not quite ready to pick yet.
Yeah. I just got to get past the person. Hang on, Kama.
One other thing to note today.
Passing on the right.
We're both recording our trips on a tracking app. So we're going to see how much distance we cover in half an hour or so. No doubt you'll win this one because you're on rollerblades and I'm walking. But still, it'll be interesting to see how much distance we cover.
Yeah, we've had a few people asking us to track it so they can get a more in-depth analysis of how far we're actually walking.
Whoa, we were talking about tanukis the other day. I've just found there's a house with this huge
Yeah.
tanuki with his big testicles out in front of this house. Not in front of a restaurant, but an actual house.
Are they hairy
No.
or shiny?
They're ceramic.
Kama, I think just quickly I'd like to just talk about your driver's license, because there was quite a funny story how you went in to get your learners, remember, and they told
Yeah.
you. I'll let you tell the story, but
Yeah, so basically it became another piece of folklore, like within our friends groups, that I would never ever get my license, and I just keep. I basically at the start every year I kept renewing my learner's permit, and that kind of served as ID so I could get into pubs and things like that. I could carry my passport, but you don't want to carry your passport everywhere. It's much easier just to have a learner's permit in your pocket. And
how many years would you get?
you get 1 year. I mean, nowadays I think they're 3 years, but back when I was getting them at the start, they were like 1 year. So in Australia, the learner's permit, basically you can get it when you're, well, I'm not sure if this is still the case, but when I was younger, you could get it when you were 16 and a half. And you sit a written test, mainly about traffic rules and stuff rather than the operation of a vehicle. And then, yeah, basically you just say, yeah, I know how to use, I know the rules of the road. So then you're allowed to go in with a proper licensed driver and drive around the streets as long as that person's in the car with you. And so I had one of them, and I just kept renewing it every year or so because you don't have to sit the test again. But yeah, one day I'd been living in Japan, and so when I went back to Australia, I said I'd better get my my learners again. And so I went down to a Department of Roads or whatever office on the Gold Coast, and I said to them, "Oh, g'day, I'm just here to renew my learner's permit." And she's like, "Mate, you've had this like 5 or 6 times. You can't just keep coming in here and renewing it. You're gonna have to go for your license at some stage." And I was saying, "Well, I've been doing it now. Like I don't think there's any law that prohibits me from doing this." "Mate, this is not what it was designed for." And I'm like, "Are you really gonna have this argument with me?" Because yeah. But I mean, yeah.
Oh, sorry. How old were you at this stage?
Oh, I would have been in my mid-20s or so.
Are you sure it wasn't 30s?
Oh, definitely not at that stage, no. Because I got my license when I was 32, on my 32nd birthday actually. So and that was another thing. So I went back and I'd let it lapse, so I had to sit the written test again when I went back to get I think it was the 7th time that I got my learner's permit.
7.
And so that was no problem, of course, but then I kind of said to them, "Hey, I'd like to go for my license after a couple of months." They go, "No, you have to wait a whole year. You have to get this, because of their new requirements." So I said, "Hey, I've done a lot of driving because I've had this, as your records will show, I've had this 7 times. So surely you can see that I know you normally need a year, but I've put more than a year of driving in, so I'm not asking for my license. I'm just asking to be allowed to go for my license. I still have to pass the test, obviously."
Just a fair go, mate. I just want a fair go.
And they said no. And so I appealed the decision, but they also rejected my appeal as well. So, But anyway, I got my license in the end.
I didn't know that part of the story.
Oh, didn't you?
No, I think if you would have got to social media, I reckon you probably would have got that fair go that you're after.
Yeah, I was considering
Current affair.
I was considering going to the media, but at the time as well, I was pursuing a career in the media, and I didn't think that, when you Google search my name and say David, 32-year-old loser without a license wants a fair go. I didn't really want that showing up, so I kind of decided not to pursue that route.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, it is a bit of a folklore about you and your license, but it's quite interesting.
I had some. I probably didn't really actually want my license that much, and I was almost thinking that I wouldn't ever get it. I was quite happy to ride my bicycle around. But then I got married, and my wife wasn't actually happy to ride the streets at 11 p.m. at night on a bicycle.
Doing the grocery
going
shopping.
from one side of town to the other. So, yeah.
But how glad are you now that you do have it?
Oh, I mean, it's very handy. But again, I still prefer not to. Like, I love walking like this. I love riding my bike. I love public transport as well.
There's something here I want to show you, which is quite a quintessential Victorian thing. And your mate, actually from Japan, it's the milk bar. I've got a nice sign here of a milk bar, and this is an old rundown one, but I guess that tells the story. And this is classic here. We've got a milk bar, and someone has cleverly drawn a phallic symbol in the dust. That's an Aussie thing to do, isn't it? And actually, when my wife, she said to me, Nagisa, when she first came to Australia, she's like, why do all the Australian people draw dicks? And I'm not sure. And she goes, in Japan, the boys draw vaginas. And I just thought that was a funny cultural difference.
I love those things. Like Junko asked me once about the real estate. You know how the real estate for sale signs over here? You'll often see them outside a house.
Yeah.
And instead of having a photo of the house inside, they've got a picture of the real estate agent's face.
Oh, fucking ego.
And she's like,
ego, mate.
You know, if you couldn't read, I'd swear that's like a politician's campaign sign or something, rather than a realist. Like, what? We don't need to see their face. We want to see the house.
Yeah, well, in my apartment block at the moment, it's like townhouses, and it's one of the apartments is for sale, and one of the guys complained to the body corporate that there's a sign up out the front. It's like, mate, the guy's just trying to sell his house, and the guy's complaining that it's an eyesore, and it's so annoying.
We just had,
Yeah.
because we're renting our place back home in Australia while we're traveling, and I just got an email saying that because you're not supposed to have pets in our complex, but
Okay.
they've kind of made a special motion for one person to have a cat, and they've sent photos of the cat and everything, and they've said, you know, this is just a one-off kind of thing. But I just thought, I don't know. And they said it's not a precedent for other people. But I'm thinking, well, that's not really fair if it's just one rule for one person. But I have to vote anyway, so I'm not sure how I'm going to vote yet.
I'll vote for the animals, Kama. Like, I think as long as you have certain rules, if you can have like bylaws, but like, you know, people love their animals, and it makes it easier to find a tenant if, you know, they're allowed to have a cat or something, or
Yeah, sure.
small dog, you know.
Okay, so you'd vote for the animal, would you?
Anyway. Yeah,
Being
I
a
would.
pet
Because
owner?
when and also being a landlord, my house in Queensland, I allow them to have a dog.
Yeah.
So used to based on application.
Well, that's
so
not so much more.
if it's a big,
That's not so much the issue for me. It's more the fact that everyone else is not allowed to have pets. There's a whole no pet policy there, but then one lot of people is allowed to have it. I just thought,
oh, yeah, that's not
doesn't really
fair.
sit well with me.
No, I think all or nothing. You got to, yeah.
Anyway,
There's a bit of artwork.
it's taking a while for us to get to the topic of our show today, isn't it?
Well, look, I think we've got some good stuff to talk about, Kama. The list is so long that these little tidbits need to be thrown in every now and then.
Yeah. But today as well,
Yeah.
there's not really a topic as such. I thought it's the 25th episode. Congratulations.
Woo!
Yeah. We should,
That's half a year, Kama.
yeah, we should have got some poppers or something. What do you call those little party poppers?
Yeah, we can add them in post.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, pretty good 25 episodes. It just seems like yesterday that you were kind of throwing the idea at me because we wanted to do something together, and it was we're both locked down. We're both on opposite sides of the globe, and yeah, I have to say it's a pretty good idea that I didn't really fully appreciate at the start.
Yeah. Well, you know, this podcast, being in such a strict lockdown area in Melbourne, and I don't think I've told you this, but this podcast is one of the things I look forward to every week because it's one of the things that I'm allowed to do. It fits in with all the laws and restrictions. So, and I think mentally it's had a big impact on me, just getting me through these tough times. Otherwise, you know, it can be quite depressing, and having something like this has really helped.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I remember at the start, I basically said to you, yeah, I'll do it, but as long as you're editing it. I kind of saw it more as your project at the start. But then somehow...
But not a project.
Yeah. And I mean, even the first...
It was sorry Cam, I got to get this one out. It's a Joject, not a project.
That's right. Not a big camo-ject. It was definitely a Joject at the start. But even if you look at our first episode, like, I mean, we weren't even pointing the cameras at our faces. And for me, that was like, yeah, I'd like to tell a story, but I want it to be mainly about the scenery. But then we responded to one of Mum's comments saying that she could see too much road or something like that. And so we point from episode 2 onwards, we pointed them back at ourselves. I've just arrived at the beach.
Kama, I'm just quickly showing someone. This is an old a pub in Melbourne, and they sell Parmas for $10. A Parma is a very Victorian meal. It's a bit of chicken with it's deep fried, and they put a bit of like sauce, like a Neapolitan sauce on it and cheese, and then melt the cheese. Delicious with side of chips. But $10 is pretty cheap. But if you're a vegan, then this probably doesn't excite you as much. But
they've got some people. I know there are a couple of places that do vegan parmies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's an Australian staple. So
yeah, and especially in Victoria, they're pretty proud of their Parmas.
are they?
Yeah.
I was just down at the beach, and it was a lot rougher than normal, but I think the wind was probably a bit too crazy, so I'm moving away from the beach now. Yeah. But do you remember how you actually got the idea for the show? Like, was it something else you saw that kind of sparked this idea, or?
I've always wanted to do a podcast.
Yep.
But I don't like the idea of just sitting down and doing it, and I always wanted to. I've always enjoyed doing stuff with you, so I thought if I do a podcast, it's probably going to be with Kama. And I thought, what's the way that we can do it? And something that keeps it interesting, because it's more about the scenery and what influences we can. Like, I was going for a walk, I'm like, okay, I can go for a walk, and I'm allowed to videotape myself, so why not? And Kama, I'm just going past this old service station called Douglas.
Oh yeah.
Douglas service station. They got an old beautiful neon sign that's got Douglas written on it. And for people listening, that's Kama's middle name. Yeah. And there's a tram that just...
Back onto you called it a podcast, and that's something as well, because I mean, podcasts in my mind are basically like a on-demand radio show. So for me, I didn't see this as a podcast, and I used to use the term slow television, which Blowy didn't really like. But I use the term slow television because it's a real-time show. Like to be honest, I do cut little bits out here and there to kind of make it flow a little bit better. But generally, this is like half a second here or half a second there, and it's more. We do have lags as well when we're talking, because we're generally using either WhatsApp or Facebook audio calls to talk. So we're not actually recording this conversation as such. I'm recording my end and Blowy's recording his end. But anyway, yeah, so it's kind of real-time show. So I actually think show is probably the best best way to describe it, because it is going out now. I think about 8 episodes in, we decided, hey, let's do it as an audio podcast. And I've done a podcast with Troy Kippen, who was a guest last week before. But at that time...
Kama, just to let you know, sorry, I'm going down a massive hill at the moment where I've hit 60 kilometers an hour on my skates. So I'm just fanging it now. So we'll be able to see on my Strava how fast I'm actually going. But it's definitely fast. I'm picking up speed and I'm not getting speed wobbles yet, so that's good. Going past the pump track, I'm starting to get a little bit of speed wobbles here. But I'm holding it. I got my rec skates on today, so they can handle the speed a bit better. And I lived through it, Kama.
I basically didn't hear I can only hear little slithers of what you're saying then because of all the wind. But no doubt, again, this is not a problem, because when Blowy edits this, he'll just cut to his side. It doesn't really matter that I can't hear it. I'll be able to hear it in the edit.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got the gist of it. I went down a big hill.
But as I was saying, with TK we used to do a podcast, and this is probably about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago. I'll say 4. Anyway, one of the problems was that it was really hard to distribute, and we ended up doing it on SoundCloud, but that didn't really go well because people like to download podcasts and listen to them when they're on the, out in the world, away from their Wi-Fi connection, and there wasn't really an easy way to do that with SoundCloud. But now there's this app we use called Anchor, and it's very easy, just like uploading a YouTube video, really, and then it gets distributed to all the major podcast places like Apple, Google, all these other Spotify, all these other places I haven't really heard of as well. So that makes it really easy. And I mean, really, it's good because we're talking anyway to each other, and you can't see what I'm seeing now, so I have to describe it for you anyway. And that also helps for the audio listeners as well, because they get to almost imagine. They can hear a little bit of the background ambience as well.
Yeah, which mine is wind today, unfortunately.
One of the challenges is though with guests though, because often their audio is not quite as good.
Oh, I just did a Harry under a pole.
Okay, you're gonna have to explain that to people, because I understand what you mean, but
yeah. There's a boom gate, and it was obviously blocking my path. So to get under it, I have to do this old technique, which used to be a technique. Now it's not even considered a trick. But before rollerblading had developed properly, you drop your knee, one of your knees down to the ground, and drop your toe, and so you get really low down to the ground, and that's it.
But we used to Harry downstairs, do you remember?
Oh yeah, it's stair bash, Harry.
Yeah. A guy just went past on a Honda Super Cub the same colour as mine.
Yeah, nice.
So Blowy, we were also talking once about what we want to do with this podcast, show, video, and ultimately what would you like to see happen with the Kama Blowy Show?
Well, first I'd like to see some more guests on the show. I'd like to see some interesting, meet new people, and see some people from different countries. That's what I really want. Yeah. And I'm not too worried about the ratings or anything like that, but I would like to be able to get a GoPro and send it over to Vanuatu, for example, and have have someone do a podcast with us over there, and then they can send the GoPro back and we can edit it once it gets back. And just little things like that, just so give people a chance who wouldn't normally have a chance to share their voice, that we give them this platform to have a chat with us.
Yeah. No, you mentioned Vanuatu, but I've got a mate over there, Marcel, and I'd really love to have him on the show. But it's just so hard technically because like he doesn't have a GoPro, but also the internet connections there, like data, getting good data bandwidth over there is really expensive. So yeah, it'd be great to make it happen, because it would be so much more interesting, you know, to see someone walking on the streets of Vanuatu. But it's just really difficult logistically to make it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And also once this lockdown is over as well, I believe I'll be able to go to more interesting places instead of doing the same route every time. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
I like it. Just, I mean, for me, just you know, having these chats with you is interesting enough, and then having a record of that is one thing. Like, I think this will be awesome to, in about 30 years, I think it'll be so interesting to be able to look, you know, just look at normal things on the street that are happening, and just kind of it's really interesting just to see like a unedited kind of slice of life from that kind of a day in that time. But also for me personally, I think there's so much value in this, just having this project and managing it and thinking about it holistically, organizing guests, organizing how you're going to do all this stuff logistically and make it all happen, because it's not simple. And just gaining that experience, I think, has been really valuable, and you know, it gives me the confidence to take on other projects in the future as well, especially around organizing guests who don't have the equipment, and you have to kind of explain to them how to use this stuff. I mean, in my jobs as well, I've been doing this a fair bit, because I had to work in one office, and there were kind of bureaus all around the country or all around my state, and I'd be on the phone to people explaining how to do things. Yeah, so I also really enjoy that aspect as well.
Yeah, and it is a big learning curve, like even the way that we do things like our thumbnails.
Yeah.
Our YouTube thumbnails, they've progressed. We've started using more interesting pictures instead of just our stinking heads.
Yeah.
We've learnt that people get to see our head enough during the podcast. They don't need to see it in the thumbnail.
Yeah. How about you? Like, my wife, I don't think she's watched the whole episode of our podcast yet. And she's not really even interested in it. When I explain that to her, she goes, okay, yeah, whatever. How about you?
Yeah, same. Well, I think she gets to talk to me every day, so she doesn't need to hear me talking any longer.
Yeah.
And I think, like, you know, it's a lot of people that don't even know us probably watch it.
Yeah.
So welcome everyone that doesn't even know us, and say hello in the comments, because we'd like to talk to you or know you. If anyone, we want to get some people in some different countries, so feel free to put a comment if you're keen to come talk to Kama and Blowy.
Well, eventually I'd like to have a new guest each episode. That would be perfect for me. One of the best bits of feedback I've had was from a guy I went to, who I studied journalism with. I think the words he used were something like surprisingly compelling. Because I explained it to him, and he was like, I'll have a look. And then he actually, he was surprised how much it pulled him in.
Yeah. Do you know, I got attacked by a magpie before. Before I was filming, unfortunately.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Are you near that tree?
No. Far from it. I was trying to find some, but a magpie. It hit me really hard as well in the shoulder. Scared the crap out of me.
Are you going to go past that place on the way home? Because maybe you could record it and then whack it on the end.
Yeah, I will. I'll go past it on the way home.
Yeah.
see if I can get attacked again. I got attacked the other week as well, so I know where another one is around the corner from me.
But it might not go up if we've got a bigger GoPro in the air.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Hello.
that'd be ironic.
I'm going up a massive hill now.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
I've just
really?
reached the top. It's actually cooled down a lot lately, so that's nice. It's been like in the mid-20s, which has been really nice after that stinking hot summer.
Yeah, nice. Well, opposite. It's getting nice and warm here now, in the mid-20s.
Yeah, well, warm. That's good. Yeah.
Sorry, everyone. We're just going up big hills, so
Well, I've arrived at
stopped
the
talking.
top now.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm walking through an area now, which until about, I don't know, 15 years ago, was pretty much all fields for agriculture. But they've since like built some a lot of homes up the top here. But yeah, they almost look like project homes, like cookie cutter types, all the same. I'll just, you can see those green ones in the background. Another interesting thing, I'm not sure if it's interesting, in Australia people take, they've got a wheelie bin, a big bin with wheels on the bottom, and they take it out to the curb once a week or so, and a truck comes and picks it up. But here everyone has to come to these collection points around the neighborhoods like this big steel cage here, and they open them up and throw their rubbish inside, and this is to keep like wild cats and dogs and stuff out of the rubbish. But here it's one of the most complicated places for rubbish separation. Like honestly, there's like in Australia basically you've got about 3 bins, like a green bin for raw waste, bio waste, then one for recycles, and that's all kind of lumped together, and then regular stuff that's going to landfill. But here, I think I'll have to get a picture of the poster that shows you the separation. Could be 25, maybe even 30 different categories. You know, different types of plastic and.
You need a science degree.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm good. I'm supportive of that, but it is a lot of work. But it's good because here, in Japan, there's way too much packaging. Especially plastic. Like often, if you bought some biscuits, for example, sometimes there's like, you have to open 3 layers of plastic before you can even get to a biscuit.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And each biscuit is individually wrapped.
Exactly.
Once you get into it. Yeah.
Which is great for keeping them fresh, but yeah, that's a lot of plastic being used. Yeah. So anyway, this we're reaching the half-hour point, and I'd really like to thank everyone who's helped us. Blowy just sent me a message this morning saying we've reached 50 subscribers on YouTube, which is kind of double the number 25, which is the episode that we're recording today. So yeah, I think that's it's a lot of fun, and I appreciate everyone kind of sticking around and supporting us. Just one thing you can do, if you can please leave comments, that helps with engagement. Like the video. If you're listening to the podcast, please rate that, leave a review there, share it with your friends, people who you think would like it. Every little bit helps us.
Yeah, and if you've got any friends that you think would be good on the podcast, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, even if they don't have the GoPro or whatever, just let us know, we can sort something out.
I reckon we kick the camera again, Blowy.
Well, I got my skates on today.
I had a pram the other day and I still did it.
All right, let's do it. You ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Just let you know, we just checked our Strava, our app that we use to track our where we've been, and Kama did 2.7 kilometers, and I did 7.2. So I've got the rollerblades on those, so it's a bit unfair. And I'd like to see actually what my top speed was, but I couldn't see it in the preview, so I've got to wait for it to download. But I'll put that up on screen here as well. All right, just a little note for you, y'all.
G'day, I'm Kama. And I'm Blowy.
It's the Kama and Blowy Show.
Kama and Blowy. Kama and Blowy. Walking and talking. Kama and Blowy. Kama and Blowy.